Hey everyone, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the gaming tab and we will get started. Greetings once again, this is AIM, former Demon Duke. Now I stream to take the edge off, although as you can see today we have the edge on, in that I've brought my Umineko sword once again. Today we're going to be reading the part 4 installment of Purgatory of the Golden Witch by Umineko. If you haven't caught the rest of it so far, I'd encourage you to check out the VODs or to download the game yourself. I will be linking the itch.io link for the game at the end of the stream, so stick around for that if you want, or search it for yourself, Purgatory of the Golden Witch. As mentioned a moment ago, this is a fan visual novel. Writing's been pretty good so far. I've been very impressed. We had a very, very strong twist. I guess came out of nowhere. I really didn't see it coming. I'll talk about it briefly, but if you're going to read this yourself, just be aware that we're spoilers from here on out. So, we were given quite a surprise last reading as Virgilia suddenly popped a new theory on Battler, which is that Battler is actually the culprit behind all of this, and that he has been killing victims himself to make a detective theory fit. Basically, that there's no need to blame everything on witches if Battler knows there's no magic because he's killing everyone himself. Quite a bizarre idea, but one that fits together with surprising neatness that Battler is not pleased about himself. You didn't put the killed your family trigger warning on this time. Yeah, you're right. Listen, if you killed your family, it's time for you to face up. You can't run from your history forever. And maybe neither can Battler. But did Battler kill his whole family? It probably is kind of secondary to the point of can Battler be convinced that he killed his own family, or can he convince himself that he didn't, rather? Because he's got to get away from that sort of trauma and guilt. You and I know that it's pretty unlikely that he did, however, as long as that sort of nagging thought is there, Battler is tortured by his sort of inner Black Battler type character. Okay, we'll see how much I can read today. I don't think I'm feeling 100%, but we'll see how it goes. Last time we had a pretty lengthy one. I think we went maybe 4 hours, maybe 3.5, somewhere around there. Not the lengthiest stream for, just anybody, but for me, that's a pretty long stream. We'll see how it goes this time. Okay, let's get started. With no further ado. But yeah, I think I should probably explain a little bit further. Toya was tormented heavily by a sort of internal figure of Battler who's always been there, and Toya is always worried about taking control. But this time it's worse than ever because he thinks that Battler might actually be a murderer. And he says, what if reading this awakens something inside of me where that Battler takes over, and if he was a murderer, then, I'll be a murderer once again. It's a very precarious situation that no one could have seen coming when he started reading that message. Okay, let's get to it. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. The salty water was getting in my mouth, and it was hard to breathe. Even the life jacket on my body had its limits. It could keep me above the water level, but it couldn't keep up with the high waves and rain that was getting to my lungs. I don't want to die. I knew I shouldn't be wasting energy on swimming aimlessly, but I couldn't help it. Any land would do. Anything. This is not how I want my life to end. Please, I don't want to die. Greg, Someone help me, I'm begging you. I don't want my life to end here. My body was getting tired. Is there really no way for me to be saved? There must be some kind of a miracle for me. The waves could miraculously take me to a place that would save me from this horrid, lonely death in the middle of the dark ocean. A miracle. Any miracle. And Beatrice is like, any miracle? Do you want to be saved? A voice rang, as if within my head. Of course I want to be saved. Would you do anything for the sake of it? This time, it didn't sound inside my head, but rather above me. There, I could see it. It's our first Burncastle sighting of the visual novel. A girl floating above the ocean. Despite the heavy rain, it looked like not a single drop of rain reached her body. Am I hallucinating before my death? What kind of hallucination is it? Of course, I'll do anything. I yelled it out of my choked lung. Slowly, the sound of the waves decreased. Am I finally dying? Is it the end? Everything is going black. My sight is blurry, and I can no longer feel the cold water against my face. My body isn't floating anymore either. I'm seated down. I reached my hands to my face, rubbing my eyes. Slowly, I could grasp where I was. It looked like an elegant room, one you'd expect a witch from a fairy tale story to have. Large windows, fancy chairs and tables, and a chandelier hanging from the ceiling. The girl I had seen floating in the sky was standing in the corner of the room. So, you're finally awake. Awake? Where am I? I'm not dead? Not yet, no. Unless you wish for me to toss you back to the ocean and find your end there. No, wait! I stood up in panic, just to fall on my knees. I didn't realize how exhausted I was until I tried standing up. The floor was reflecting my tired face, and I was still wearing the life jacket. Huh? My hair. I leaned closer, touching my hair. It was blue, about the same color as the girl in front of me. Be grateful. I gave you a one-of-a-kind miracle, made you my peace, and even gave you the same blue hair as mine. My name is Burncastle, the Witch of Miracles. You might want to start referring to me as your master from now on. The miracle of blue hair granted to only but a few. Certain to make you one of the most popular When They Cry characters. I slowly dragged myself to sit on the chair, looking at the girl. It was hard to grasp what was happening. A witch of miracles? This could all be a weird hallucination I have before my death. It could be nothing but a dream or an illusion. I just realized how strange it was that he reached up and felt his hair and said, "Hi, blue." I can feel my hair is blue. The blueness of my hair. But for the small chance it isn't. My master, would you be kind and explain to me what do you mean by peace? Why did you bring me here? Yeah, woke up feeling anime. No, that's how you turn into a VTuber. Terrifying. As I asked that, the Witch of Miracles started explaining the details for me. There's a game going on right now. It's a game between a human named Ushirimiya Battler and another witch named Beatrice. The objective of this game is to prove that the murders currently happening on an island named Rakanjima were not done by a witch. If the witch wins, she's revived, and takes everyone with her to the realm, the Golden Land. But as long as someone doesn't acknowledge her, she can't be fully revived. The human, Battler, wishes to defeat the witch and return home safely. I see. So he's like me, caught in an unfortunate situation, and only wishes for a safe return back to reality. So, you want me to be Ushirimiya Battler's assistant and help him defeat the witch? That's right. If you win, your miracle will be granted. You will not die on that day in the ocean. You'll drift to Rakanjima Island and be saved by the Ushirimiya family who resides there. So that's how it was. My payment for this miracle is participation in a cruel witch's game. I'll do it. I don't want to die. I will do anything to win. I need this miracle. I need it to live. I will fight for this chance, for this miracle to occur. My master, the Witch of Miracles, gave me this opportunity. I mustn't waste it. I will live. I will win this game and live. Yeah, sorry, buddy. Maybe I could... Oh, I know what I could do. I could make it a BTTV emote. That's not a bad idea. I'll just reverse it and upload it as a BTT emote just for you. For the next stream. This is the end now. Virgilius was standing in front of Beatrice. His expression was serious, but there was a glint of confidence in his eyes. After all, his victory was approaching. Next to him, seated down with a defeated expression, was Battler. The man he had originally been asked to assist was now sitting down, his head tilted down, barely moving. Ushirimiya Battler, are you really letting this man take your role on this board without fighting back? I'm sorry, Beata. What kind of an opponent are you? I thought that you swore to be the one to defeat me. Maybe you're grateful someone does the dirty work for you, after all. It's not that. Do you really think I want this game to end like this? Battler slammed the chair he sat on with his fists. I don't understand anymore. Which path should I take? Why can't there be an easier solution? Even when you have the upper hand, you're not satisfied. What an unpleasant man you are. Virgilius said it himself. It's what you wanted, isn't it? Or is it just your crushed pride speaking, seeing how this man is attempting to defeat me, while you cannot? Battler, you made your meat bed, and now you have to lie in it. That's right. In your bed full of red Kool-Aid. Beatrice inhaled from her pipe, looking at the two men. You're mourning me too fast, Battler. Just because Virgilius believes he's created a solution for my game board doesn't mean I'm going down so easily. However, seeing you feeling empathy for someone like me wasn't something I thought I'd experience. Beata. As an endless witch, I never had to fear death. It was just yet another experience that could be reversed at my will. Returning from the dead was just like waking up from an unpleasant dream. Feeling a possible death reaching up to me is yet another thing I get to experience thanks to this game. This is messed up. I should be happy, right? I should be happy, and yet I'm just so upset. Mood, Battler. Mood. What's wrong, Battler? Has seeing a woman in distress awakened something in you? I've told you already, I'm not going down yet. That's why, if I get through this, I hope you can stand up and become my opponent again. What is your objective, Beatrice-san? Are you really here to win? Your words don't make sense to me. You're 1,000 years too young to understand someone like me, young boy. I see. So that's your answer. I appreciate it. You fight until the bitter end without giving up. Is she really? What? It's Lambda. I think she's not trying at all. Out of nowhere, a new girl appeared in the room with a pop. She was sitting down on one of the chairs in a fancy pose, and a grin was plastered all over her face with an amused expression. Honestly, it's getting really embarrassing to watch at this point. Isn't it time you stopped playing around, Beata? As she spoke, she straightened in her seat and turned her head to look at Virgilius, who flinched uncomfortably. Yo, so you're Burns' new piece. You're not cute at all. Lady Lambda Delta, Witch of Certainty. What brings you here? How mean. The great, super-duper cute Lady Lambda Delta came here especially to watch your magnificent possible defeat, and you don't even serve her some tea and cookies? What a lame service. You should definitely work it out. Besides, anywhere Burn is, I will certainly be there as well. Took you long enough. Did it really? I'm the one who gave Beata my blessing, so if she's going to lose, I'm coming to take it back. I wonder, should I let everyone see what a pitiful form you truly have, Beata? You are pretty late, though. It's over, Lambda. My piece is capable of bringing an end to this game. No way! Beata was just playing on easy mode. You gave your pieces a push. I thought I'd come here to help Beata as well. How gracious of me, right, Beata? Beata? Who's this girl? Don't let her looks deceive you. That witch is more powerful and cruel than you could ever imagine. Hey, Lampshade. Good to see you. We're just meeting Lambda Delta again for the first time of the novel. I guess it would have been the first time of the visual novel itself if we were reading through the traditional canon. I guess. Or maybe just the first time Battler met her. My master, were you watching? I've been keeping my side of the contract. I fought with everything I've got, and I'm about to grasp my victory. I was watching. Indeed, you were doing splendid work. Granting you my power and my hair color wasn't for nothing after all. You're part of the Lambda Delta fan club? I see. We enjoy Lambda Delta. The super duper cute Lambda Delta channel. It was truly a miracle that you were such an ideal piece for this game. Hey, Burns boy, I can't help but wonder. What did she promise you? A miracle. She promised me that if I win this game, I won't die. I will survive and be able to go home. Oh, really now? She's cute and pop. True. What more could you want? How interesting. How did her promise go? What's the meaning of this question, Lady Lambda Delta? I just can't help but wonder about it. After all, I don't remember seeing a universe where Ferrudo Virgilius went back home. Huh. Virgilius stared at Lambda Delta with a confused expression, which soon became furious. The man then immediately turned to Berncastle with anger in his eyes. What's the meaning of this, my master? I don't see any problem. What she says doesn't contradict my promise. What do you mean doesn't contradict your promise? Man got Umaniko'd. It's true. He's being toyed with by witches, as one does. Explain yourself right away. It's just as I've told you already. You'll play this game, and in return, I will make sure you'll drift to Rockinjima and not drown that day. Oh no, I get it. She's saying that even though he'll get to Rockinjima and won't drown that day, he will still be killed, like everyone else on Rockinjima. I was wondering how they were going to close that hole, and it turns out that they had their own plans in mind. Virgilius started walking back, almost tripping on his steps. Huh? What happened? Did Berncastle lie? She didn't. She promised him he'll drift to Rockinjima. But she never promised him he'll manage to go back home. Yeah, that's a bit of an oopsie doopsie right there. Virgilius will just have to hold this L, I suppose. Badler looked at Virgilius, who was motionless for a while. Ryu. You tricked me, you damn... Virgilius dashed towards Berncastle, attempting to grab her by the collar. But it was a few episodes too early for anybody to lay hands on Berncastle. But just before he could lay a finger on her, she crumbled away and appeared on the other side of the room. I didn't trick you. It's you who didn't listen properly. I never promised you a safe return home. I only promised you would survive that day. Anything that happens afterwards is none of my business. Then there's no reason for it to be impossible. I reached Rockinjima. That would mean I still have a chance to survive the murders and stay alive, whether we defeat the witch or not. That's useless, Burns boy. I can tell you with certainty, there's no way for you to survive past October 5th. There's only way to survive yourself now. Have Peace Virgilius kill Peace Badler in self-defense. You know, I don't know, Badler, we know Badler has to live through this, but is that necessary to the story? Is it possible to conduct a mystery in which Virgilius was killing everybody instead of Badler? And maybe that could be Virgilius' salvation through this? Or maybe I'm wrong. Let's see where they go with this. I'm sure Virgilius has some reason to keep playing. It's a futile fight. You had no chance to win this one from the very moment you stepped into this game, boy. But you know, I could offer you something better. If you'll make sure to keep this game going, you can stay alive here, on this game board. Just swim back to Japan. It's easy. I wonder why nobody thought of that. Who knows, maybe one day you could even become a witch yourself. Ha 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 ha. Shut up. I don't want to hear any of you. I'm not going to play along with any of you witches. Oh, how sad. It was such a good offer, too. If you jump into the storm and pedal counterclockwise, then what, Heat? Then what? What will happen? Are you saying you'll rewind time? Too busy thinking of small bombs is why no one thought of it. Yeah, that part of the mystery really kind of took precedence over everything else, I suppose. Good offer. Are you making fun of me? What's fun in this game? Watching people dying over and over again? Being in constant danger for your life? I don't want any of this. I see now. It really was a pointless fight to begin with. I really had no hope from the very beginning. Ha. Ha ha ha. Virgilius-kun. After the discovery of Rosa and Maria's corpses in the garden, Battler became the prime suspect. It resulted in all of them returning to the parlor with Battler seated at a separate chair, being constantly watched by the group. Their attention only shifted when Virgilius stood up, covering his face as he chuckled to himself. In one of those top 10 anime poses. It's stupid. So stupid. It's so ridiculous I could cry. I'm done with all of you. I've had enough. Enough of you and your awful family drama. Virgilius-san, what's gotten into you? That's right, it's all pointless. It's all a futile, pointless fight with no winners. Maybe I should have just drowned instead of dealing with all of you. Go to hell, you rotten family. I'm just going to go ahead and do whatever I want. Rokkenjima is a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to die there. I see. Even if I'll need to kill the Ashuramiya family myself in order to secure my life on that island, I will do it. I will not be defeated. I will not let you kill me. Ryu, stop. All of you twisted witches must think it's so funny, right? Let's see how much you'll laugh once I tear this Game Boy to bits. I will crush it, ruin it, and destroy it. I really don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. Nothing does. Ha 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 ha. Virgilius laughed maniacally. Tears were in the corners of his eyes, and his face twisted almost inhumanly. That was true despair. Virgilius is done playing Monopoly. It's claimed the life of yet another family. All good feelings are out the window. Beato. Is that true? Is there no escape? Not just Ryu. What about me? Virgilius is a borrowed piece who does not belong to me, so different rules apply to you and him. Just because Virgilius has no future, it doesn't necessarily apply to you as well. Embrace it, Battler-san. We're locked in this hell forever, whether we win or lose. Hey, let's break this void together. Let's ruin it. Let's find a different exit. None of these witches can be trusted. They'll just deceive you to the very end. I thought you wanted to return back home to your sister, right? Beto, IDK. Are you going to abandon the family that's waiting for you outside this hell just because you're scared? I thought you were better than this. Battler looked at Beatrice. At first, she looked away, almost as if she was in pain. But then... charging up with some water here. Yeah! That's right. Witches will deceive you until the very end. I'm sorry, Virgilius, but Battler is my opponent, so I'm not letting go of him anytime soon. He's destined to stay here and keep entertaining me for all eternity, and I will not let you get in the way. Lucifer! Ryu, watch out! The eldest sister appeared and immediately changed her form in order to fulfill her master's order. Out of my way, scum! Just as she got close enough, Virgilius grabbed onto the chair that was closest to him and used it to deflect her aggressively. Isn't it weird how the coolest parts in Umineko are always when somebody like just grabs some furniture and beats up some magical characters with it? I don't know why. If I think back to like Rosa, I feel like that's the way. Oh my god, headshot to the... Or chair to the head. Chairs to the head were banned in professional wrestling back during the Attitude Era after a lot of concussion issues. So you don't see that nowadays, at least not in the televised ones. He was panting heavily, his fingers turning white from holding on to the chair he now used as a shield. Your piece entered the rebellious phase, Burn! How humiliating! Fa ha 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 ha! What's next? The other 6? I will not lose. I will not die. When Umineko goes fucking feral, it's one of the biggest highlights. Absolutely. We love some feral Umineko. I just feel like I have such a fondness for the human characters, like, you know, fighting. I don't know why. Just, it's always fun to see. Even though they usually don't fare too well. I will not let you kill me. I will not die. Furuto Virgilius is not alive past October 5th. Oof. Pretty dead, champ, if you ask me. A long red wedge formed from his master's words pierced the chest of the man who was throwing a tantrum in the witch's room. He was still standing up for a few more moments, as if trying to process what had just happened. His hand slowly reached to touch the wedge that went through his chest, before his body finally gave in, and he fell on the floor with a loud sound. Hey, Ryu! Battler rushed and kneeled by the man's side. A pool of blood was already forming around his body, staining their clothes with red. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Help. Hold on. Let me, damn it. Ugh. Battler tried to pull the wedge out of Virgilius' chest, but as soon as he touched the wedge, it burned his palms, forcing him to pull his hands away. I like to imagine that Castle has one piece that's like just a super large version of the 7 Stakes of Purgatory that she can launch through people and just hasn't shown off until this point. It burns. It burns so much I can't breathe. I can't. Virgilius coughed out some blood, tears forming in his eyes. Damn it, hold on, okay? Where's that wedge? Battler looked at where Castle and Lambda Delta had stood just a moment ago, but they were both nowhere to be seen. After all, there was no point watching a piece that had been cast away. The only one who was watching was Beatrice, who watched the scene quietly. Virgilius tugged on Battler's sleeve, staining it further with his blood. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. You won't die. Beato, why are you just watching? Can't you revive him? Even if I revive Furuto Virgilius, it won't be the same Virgilius Furuto who's in front of you right now. What's the meaning of this? Is that some kind of cruel joke? Aren't you an endless witch? Don't screw with me. Do something already. Damn it. Damn it. Virgilius' terrorized expression softened as he saw Battler was crying, and a bitter laugh escaped his lips. Haha. You know, I guess it's better than drowning alone in the ocean. Ah, what the hell? I was putting you through so much agony, and you're still shedding tears for me. You're such a good person, Battler-san. It's not that bad, dying with someone like you by my side. Don't say stupid things like this. It's only rational, right? You just wanted to live, right? It's such a simple wish. My fate was sealed from the very beginning. Ah, it hurts so much. Are you still there? I'm here. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Just listen. You have to go back home. You have to return. I won't be able to return, so you have to, for your family. I need you to go and find my sister and take care of her. No thanks. Battler grasped onto Virgilius' hand, squeezing it just a little. I will, I promise you. I promise I'll do it, no matter what. For Angie, and for your sister as well. You sure are good at making promises. What was that? Battler glared at Beatrice, who only looked away as he did. Oh, burn. His attention shifted back to Virgilius when he tugged on the sleeve again. Hey, I know it's hard, but some sacrifices must be made. Don't let anyone deceive you anymore. Not witches, nor your own family. You don't need to talk anymore. I know it now, so please, you've done more than enough. Thank you. Even in this twisted game, I managed to have some fun sometimes. Even if for a short time, I could keep being alive and exist. Make sure to return home safely, okay? For those who can't, as well. As he said these words, his body relaxed, and he stopped breathing. His face was peaceful. It looked like he was sleeping on a bed dyed in red. The return of the mead bed. Ferrudo Virgilius sunk into the deep sea of unconsciousness, and his role in the witch's game was over. Oh no. Ferrudo Virgilius was a magnificent piece on this game board. However, there was no place for a rebellious piece such as him on the board. Shut up. I don't want to hear it from you. Battler, who was seated by Virgilius' body for a while, finally stood up. His pants, as well as the edge of his jacket, were soaked in blood, and the tears on his face were already dry. That was a cruel game, a game where no one could be proved innocent, a game where nothing but red words could be trusted. No, even words in red could be twisted and deceive you if you're not careful enough. After all, witches could twist their words, create a beautiful lie in red, and bind you to reality. It could get you closer to the truth, but also pull you away from it. What was that? I said, I will no longer be deceived by you. Ryu is gone, but he's still by my side. I will no longer trust anything blindly anymore, not even your own red truth. Oh, so now even the red truth is doubtful? That's right. After all, it's not only about the truth being subjective. It's also about the small details, or the way it was said, that could change everything. Just like Ryu was deceived by Berncastle's words, I was definitely deceived by your red. I'll no longer let you lead me astray anymore. I'll see through your red web and through your lies. I see. So from now on, not only will you only trust your own eyes, but you won't even trust my red words. Very well. I'm thrilled to see where this will lead us. Can you really do it, Battler? Can you really suspect your own family members? 7 episodes later. He'll get there, he'll get there. Can you cruelly point at one of them and accuse them of murder? Even when they beg and cry and swear it's not them, can you do it? I can't wait to see it. Ah, it's useless. It's all useless. They did the same to me, right? They mercilessly labeled and treated me like a murderer. So I have no reason to be afraid anymore. I must consider all possibilities, even the most painful ones. In order to return home, I must do it. My sister is waiting for me, and now I have another promise to keep. Then go ahead, Battler. Can you defeat me? Can you explain this game? Can you explain the murders of all these games? Can you explain the disappearance and appearance of corpses? Can you explain all those things? I can't wait to hear you. You promised, right? That you'll become my opponent again. That's right. I am your opponent, and I don't plan on backing up anytime soon. Your defeat was only delayed, and I'll be the one to defeat you. That's right, he must become the Battler Royale. Prepare yourself, Beatrice. Go ahead and defeat me then, Ushiramiya Battler. Crush me, deny me, and defeat me. I want to see you try. I want to see you try. Go ahead and kill me, Ushiramiya Battler. I'm going to take a real brief break for just a moment. Wait, Virgilius is suddenly dead. I was wondering what would happen to Peace Virgilius, and it looks like he's suddenly just died. Well, we'll get back to that in just a moment. I need to take a short break, get some more water, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry you had to miss the cool Umineko music, but you'll get a little bit more of it now. Alright, let's get back to it. When we last left, Virgilius heckin' died. And yes, be sure to hydrate yourself as well. But don't hydrate yourself as much as Virgilius evidently has, because he's now land drowning or something like that. 1 second. I think I'm not clicked into the window actually. Wait 1 second. Oh, actually, there was the sound like a gunshot. Yeah, I think Virgilius actually died. It seems like he died both on a meta level and on the Game Boy. Who did it? Who shot him? Don't you dare stand up, Battler-kun. I'm not even holding a gun. What the hell are you talking about? You're the one with the gun here. How dare you? I didn't shoot him. Don't worry. That was me. Someone spoke from the direction of the door, making everyone turn towards it. You... Poor just died as he lived. Short. Oof. Poor guy. I think that's who he shot, everybody. That's my theory. Well, that's what, sort of what it's set up to look like, at least. But anyways, yeah, that was a surprise end for sure. But I will say there's a little bit more for us to go, because even though the credits are now rolling, anyone who's read Umineko knows that there is always a witch's tea party afterwards, in which we can digest things on a meta level. So for now, just enjoy this song. That's just a theory. A fan theory. Confession, I only know that from like memes, so I don't know how they really say it on the video. The thing you need to know about Umineko is that the OST is all bangers. Okay, well, we could listen to this whole song, and I'm half tempted to, but we should probably get moving. I'm curious because the Virgilius death smacked of the same kind as Beethoven 3, and now the first part is over, so I might be misreading that. Yeah, I was actually sort of thinking if Virgilius was to die as a way of spurring Battler to continue, or, you know, seemingly die as a way of spurring Battler to continue taking on his part, then maybe, but I don't know. It seems like now the part's over, so I think Virgilius really bought it. But let's keep going. Let's find out what happens. Or what happened. But the song's almost over, so. Oh wait, it's not over? Okay, but I don't have time to listen to the whole thing. So, but do go check out the Umineko OST yourself if you're so inclined. Alright. Heard, I think Virgilius really balling, and I can't disagree. He was balling, but at what cost? Alright, let's go to the tea party. Episode question mark. Tea party. Virgilius went to go to the farm where all the little Virgiliuses graze. A peaceful place. A happy place. Clack. The sound of a piece falling down on a wooden board was heard, before the witch of theater going picked it up, placing it back in the box. That was a splendid tale, don't you think, my Miko? As she spoke, the black cat that had been strolling in the room changed its form and became a girl without expression. Don't you hate it when your cat just randomly kills one of your pieces on a chessboard? Like you're just playing chess and your cat just kind of goes over and knocks it over with its paw? Because it feels like that's what happened in this story. You seem to enjoy yourself. Of course I enjoy myself. Any tale that can challenge the reader to think is bringing me joy. According to Umineko, Angie doesn't think. Well, I can't expect most of the readers to put any thought into it, but for those who will, this tale was worth skimming through. Featherin hummed to herself, placing back all the pieces she had just removed prior to the game that had just ended. She was moving them around a little bit, placing them in different positions every time. Yeah, I guess maybe they're not bringing in Angie yet since she hasn't, appeared in the, I don't know, it'd still be fun to see her. I guess we technically could, since it's the future. Excuse me, sorry. She was moving them around a little bit, placing them in different positions every time. After all, the next upcoming game was yet to be finished, so she couldn't know what the final setting would be. So, what did you think about that tale? I found some parts of it rather tasteless. I should have guessed you were the one behind it, Aurora. My, what are you talking about? The one who wrote this tale was you, wasn't it? Featherin smiled. Of course, out of all people, the one who figured it out was her. Only someone with a mind like yours would think of those things, and only someone with knowledge about the truth could write that. However, making Battler look like the culprit sure was a very directed attack against him. Even then, it seems like his mind is still too weak for it. I overestimated him. He's still incapable of facing that beast. That was not a single beast. You really are tasteless. Bringing in a peach such as Perudo Virgilius, a piece so similar, yet so different to him, was the crueler act. I think putting a mirror in front of him and forcing him to face every regret and fear he had would have been easier. And if it wasn't just that, I believe. Even on the board, a piece cannot act against its character. Perudo Virgilius was just a perfect piece to place on the board in order to watch a different tale unfold. Was Battler really the culprit of that tale? Of course he wasn't. Besides, all the people who were murdered before midnight of October 5th were killed by the same person. Huh. So Beato really went easy on them after all. What a shame. Some of the claims your piece brought up could also be easily denied. For example, Rosa and Maria were not pierced by the fins. That would leave the mystery behind the fourth hole. Why would she play like this? If I were her, I would use anything in my power to crush my enemies so they can't stand up. She didn't include the killing your family trigger warning. It's almost like she wanted to trigger Battler. Beatrice was in a situation she had never been in before. The game had already begun, and she had already started making her moves. However, something even she could not have predicted happened on her board. Even the Endless Witch didn't think a new piece would join her board that late. Does it mean this game has a different behavior from the other games? The witch has no motive to kill people when a new potential detective shows on the board. Of course, it was never specified whether Virgilius was the detective or not, but you could definitely say he was a fitting candidate. He was definitely less embarrassing than Erica, if not for his act at the end of the game. Indeed, he was very capable, but hard to control. There is no such thing as a perfect piece, after all. How lucky for you. Now you can return to the 6th game and embrace Erica's loyalty again. Byrne only sat down, still looking irritated. So who's the culprit for this game? If the witch has no motive to kill, why would anything happen in the first place? Beatrice wants to be understood by a specific person. However, she's also a gambler. By the time Ferrudo Virgilius joined, Beatrice had already placed her bet and was no longer in a position to back off. I wonder what outcome she hoped this game to have. You're no less of a gambler than her. You're as tasteless as ever. I gave a new piece a chance to shine. Without me, that piece would be forgotten and lost forever in the sea of Coqueras. If you ask me, I think I'm very generous. You brought him, only to tear him to pieces right after. I can't be surprised, though. I would have done just the same. Isn't it the same fate for that girl, anyway? You're not the type to play favorites. When I love someone, I just want to break them more. That's just another thing I learned from you. Oh, if that's how it is, I can't wait to see how you keep surprising me in the future. You really do hate losing after all. That's right. Even that part is yet another thing I learned from you. It's been thousands of years since I tasted the bitter taste of loss. I wonder if one day you will be the one who makes me remember how it feels, my Miko. Byrne stood up again. We'll see about it. With these words, the witch disappeared, leaving no traces behind her. Purgatory of the Golden Witch. Ikiko was seated by the desk, tracing the letters over the cover of the book. She and Toya never finished reading the last chapter. His headaches became unbearable, and they decided to stop. He went to bed as soon as they stopped, without any further conversation with Ikiko. The moon had already been high in the sky when Ikiko left her study, passing by Toya's room. The man was already in a deep sleep. As Ikiko came in, the black cat who had been resting by his side immediately stood up and ran out of the room, making her follow with her eyes for a brief moment. There was a tiny frown on Toya's face. His sleep wasn't peaceful tonight either. Why, gee, I wonder why, Ikiko. I wonder what's bothering Battler while he's sleeping. Maybe because you made him read a twisted, messed up story about how he killed his family? Was he tormented by his past again? However, when his face was like that, there was still no doubt that the person within that body was still Hachijo Toya. Ikiko stood by the bedside, gently touching his hair. I wanted to see your honest reaction to something I wrote when you don't know I'm the person behind it. I went overboard. I apologize. Just trying to help him cope. She whispered it gently as she backed away, exiting the room. Plumbum fleur de. It was a tasteless riddle. Plumbum's symbol is PB. By imagining his would-be family would be murdered. Yeah, that's how I cope too, personally. When I think of terrible things that are happening in my own life, I'm like, but what if I killed my entire family? Fleury's symbol is F. PBFD, or cytosine beak and feather disease. A known disease that causes a bird to lose its own feathers. It is known that birds are prone to pluck their own feathers when stressed, a rare act of self-destruction and harm done to oneself. However, this disease was simply destroying it from the inside. So even if the bird is happy within the cage, it'll slowly lose its feathers and eventually die. See, your recovery's going great, just like those birds. It was a tasteless name no one could figure out. Perhaps only Toya could figure it out. After all, there was no need for anyone else to figure it out. Perhaps even she was afraid he'd figure it out. The first time I gave you something I've written to read, I never expected you to react so kindly. Your feedback was always so full of love, gentle and compassionate. I couldn't help but wonder if you were just being too kind to me. I couldn't wonder if you're just too soft to hurt my feelings. That's why I wondered if I could make you feel something, even if you don't know I'm the one behind it. I wanted to see if I could make you feel something within my works. It was too early. You're not ready to deal with the demons of your past yet, nor the demons of the future. Iko leaned against the side of the door, sighing. Who would win in this struggle? Will Hachijo Toya eventually die and submit to his own monsters, or will he be able to struggle and move on? That itself was a mystery. It was something only time would tell. It truly was a duet that only existed within man. A distorted melody died and ran, and all she could do was listen. Okay, we have one more part to read, and that is the question mark, witches tea party. Here we go. It's funny, when I shifted in my seat just now, it looked like I did this weird kind of like head cracking motion. Wait, neck cracking motion, right? Head cracking motion would look more like this. He was in that place again. A dark, confusing place where one could walk aimlessly, hoping to grab on to something. Will he be able to find something today, or just wander without any purpose again? Toya only had these thoughts in his mind. Unlike last time, this time his head was clear. It didn't hurt after all, and he could give some thought to his surroundings. While he used to describe it as dark fog, it was more like an endless deep sea. Excuse me. Sometimes he could see some far lights, but he knew they were far beyond his reach, like some kind of a setting rather than something reachable. He kept walking in that endless wide sea, looking up at where the sky should be. If this is inside his head, why does it always feel so crowded? Isn't there so much space here? Isn't head empty? Suddenly, he could spot something. It was a mirror. Toya approached the mirror, looking at his reflection. As he did, a tired man was looking back at him. That was undoubtedly him. That was Hachijo Toya. However, in the mirror, it was also Ushirimiya Battler. After all, just by looks, there was no real difference between them. So, in a way, when he was looking at the mirror, it was Ushirimiya Battler who was looking at him. For that reason, he grew to dislike mirrors. Looking at mirrors reminded him of his own body. A body that didn't originally belong to him. He hated it when it was Ushirimiya Battler who looked at him through the mirror. Because of that, he sometimes wished he could wake up and look completely different. He wanted to look like Hachijo Toya, and not like Ushirimiya Battler. But who was Hachijo Toya? His expression grew resentful, and the Ushirimiya Battler in the mirror gave him the same expression back. As it did, Toya immediately looked away, unable to bear the expression of his own face. He only shut his eyes tightly, taking long, deep breaths. When he faced the mirror again, it was no longer there. Instead, someone was standing there. The cooler battler. Have you calmed down at last? It's not like screaming and crying will help me. You're not gonna leave anytime soon, are you? Heh, you're like a completely different person from that person a little while ago. Don't say it like that. Did I touch a sensitive subject, Toya? When Battler was using his name, that name rang unfamiliar to him. It wasn't the same name that Ikuko or any of the maids were using. It was different. You gave that mirror such a hateful look. Do you really hate him that much? They remind me of things I want to forget. Want to forget? I thought you're struggling to remember. Amnesia? I don't remember asking. Toya looked away, while Battler walked to a table that was suddenly in that endless space, sitting on one of the chairs. You really ended up so similar to her. How ironic. Her. Heh. I guess you don't remember these parts yet. Toya gave him a frown, but sat down regardless, sinking in his seat. I guess you find it funny after all. You know everything, but you won't tell me just yet. Even if I were to tell you, would you believe me? After all, this is the me who feeds on theories where Battler is the culprit. Listening to my words as the truth equals acknowledging us as the culprit. Good. Toya shut his eyes. He wanted to run away, but decided not to. Meanwhile, Battler leaned closer, an amused expression on his face. So, how's your forgery going? Hi. You're writing one right now. How's it going? Why are you even asking? You definitely know how it's going. You're always watching, aren't you? I'm just being polite, don't you think? Battler gave him an unpleasant smile, which only made Toya flinch. It's going fine, but I'm still not sure about the victims of the first Twilight. Battler participates in a trial, and now he has to sacrifice someone. Ah, how interesting. So Battler has to kill someone as part of the trial. That's definitely something hard to write. Just make him kill his peace self, then. That would save you the struggle, don't you think? Oh no, the low tier got me. Kill his peace self. Toya looked at Battler with a rather surprised expression. Was he helping him write? Why would he even do it? Was it because, despite tormenting him, that man was still him to some extent? That was definitely the easiest solution for this part. He couldn't make Battler kill anyone. It was too much for him to write. Even like that, he cannot stain Battler's hands with anyone's blood. So, what do you do after you finish this forgery? After, well, what I always did. Ikuko and I will publish it and follow the discussion on it. Once I'm tormented by my past again, I'll probably end up writing a new one. Anji's probably reading these, you know. Toya felt a strong, painful throb in his head. Anji. She's having a pretty rough time. Everyone around her is sure her family is the culprit, and us as well. I would say that her very existence is making me stronger. After all, people are merciless. She must be missing her brother so much, and you're the only one who stops her from meeting with him. If I met her, will you be the one to greet her? Toya gritted his teeth, his hands clenching into fists. Who knows? Maybe. Maybe after meeting her, I will become strong enough to kill you. I won't let you. Oh. I will not be meeting with Angie, no matter what. Why's that? Because I don't want to die. Ha! Ha ha ha! And here I expected you to say something heroic, such as, I don't want her to see how ugly her brother is inside. But I guess you are really selfish to the core, Hachijo Toya. Be quiet. It's the most natural thing, isn't it? However, as long as you're alive, I'm alive as well. As long as you live, there's a chance that one day I will kill you. That's right. That's why I must do what I can to stay alive. Huh. How ironic. You sounded just like that Ferrudo Virgilius just now. But can you really keep it up? Do you really want to stay alive, living the rest of your life like this? Yeah. Toya covered his head with his arms, closing his eyes. That was too much to handle. A war that will never end. No matter what he'll say, no matter what he'll think, that voice within him will twist it in the worst way possible. You monster. Not letting me meet Angie, leaving her like this. Toya raised his head again. This time, it wasn't Battler. It was Battler. That's right. He's probably in there too. Longing to reunite with his family. Longing to do everything Hachijo Toya couldn't do. Hey, Battler, will you try to kill me too? That Battler didn't answer. But even though his expression was significantly softer than the other Battler, Toya still found him scary. It was getting crowded. So crowded. Hey, which one of you is the real Battler? Answer me, please. Tell me. Which one of you is real? Are you the real Ashiramiya Battler? Or is it the other one? I won't know if you won't tell me, please. Toya kept yelling at the figure in front of him helplessly, despite getting no answer. Then he stood up abruptly, and as soon as he did, the table, the chairs, as well as Battler himself disappeared, as if they were never there. Toya was about to walk forward, but something was stopping him. He couldn't see it, but it felt like a bunch of hands were holding his legs down. Let go! Let go! Toya leaned forward, trying to kick the invisible hands away. As he did, something kicked him down, hovering above him. It was Ashiramiya Battler. Just like everything else in this damn place. Let go. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Ashiramiya Battler's hands closed on his neck and started tightening. No, no. Let me go. Let me go. Don't kill me. Let me go. Let me go. The hands tightened more. He couldn't breathe. No, no, no! Ah! He felt his head aching. This time it wasn't because of his usual pain, but because he hit his head on the floor as he fell from the bed. The man abruptly sat up. His head was spinning a little bit, but he sighed in relief. There he was, in his bedroom, in Ikuko's house. With slow movements, he finally stood up. He walked wearily to the drawer where his medicines were. On the same drawer was a small mirror where he could see his reflection. There he was. Hachijo Toya. That expression, that face, without a doubt, it was Hachijo Toya. Toya dropped to his knees by the drawer, feeling tears going down his face. So he survived another day. He wasn't killed yet. Even so, he couldn't stop crying. This time, it wasn't just his head, but his chest that ached as well. He didn't want any of it anymore. Sometimes he couldn't help but think that perhaps dying and giving Battler back his body was the best choice. He was tired. He was so tired. But it was all useless. He couldn't help but struggle to live. He couldn't help being Hachijo Toya. Toya raised his head to meet his reflection again. Hello, me. He said these words to it, and it replied just the same, which made him smile a little. This reflection was Hachijo Toya, and at this point, nothing could change it. The only thing he could do, the only thing that could help, was to keep writing. He wasn't ready, it wasn't the time yet. But writing, perhaps with writing, Ushiramiya Battler will rest in peace. Perhaps one day, they will both be at peace. Don't worry, I'll put you to rest. You're suffering as well, right? Toya mumbled it to his tired reflection, which returned the same sad smile he had. Toya slowly stood up again, taking his medicines. After drinking water and washing his face, he finally settled back into bed, staring at the ceiling one last time. Good night, me. Tomorrow, I hope I can still be Hachijo Toya. With these thoughts, the man closed his eyes. These, of course, are credits for the visual novel itself. This fan visual novel. Purgatory of the Golden Rose. I will, of course, link the visual novel one more time once this completes. And then I'd like to digest it for a little while. Yeah, I did really enjoy it. Because I still do have a lot of time, yeah, let's just, we'll talk about it for a bit after this. Credits roll. Okie dokie. Alright, so, there's one more thing we should probably do, which is, I think there is postscript there. We'll check it out. Give me one moment, because I am going to get that link so I can throw it in chat real quick. Alright, here we go. If you're interested in leaving any feedback, perhaps you've just finished watching now with me, or perhaps you're watching the VODs, Definitely check out the Purgatory of the Golden Witch page on itch.io. If you're watching live, you can use this link. I'm sure they'd appreciate the favorite. They'd appreciate ratings and things like that. So yeah, let's check what they've got in Postmortem real quick. It's a postscript from Umineta. Let's check it out. It feels kind of weird to be reading this first person thing from Umineta, but I guess I will. Hello, my name is Umineta. If you're reading these lines, it means you've reached the end of my forgery. Thank you so much for reading. Did you enjoy it? Did it make you think? Did it make you feel something? If I made you feel even just a little bit that you're back home, then I'm satisfied. Umineko no Naku Koroni has been a big part of my life for a very long time, since 2009, and had an insane impact on my life in many aspects. Creating such a big project like writing a full-on forgery was a huge emotional roller coaster, and I enjoyed every moment of it. In a way, I could say that this forgery is almost like a love letter. Apparently they got introduced to Umineko back in 2009. I wonder when I first did. My introduction to Umineko was when the anime came out, and shortly after that, my brother and I read the visual novel together. Very fond memories of that. At the time, Umineko wasn't even entirely out yet, so you got to a certain part, and then you had to wait for Ryukishio 7 to to deliver you the rest. It was quite a painstaking wait, I'll say that. But definitely fond memories. It's a love letter for the masterpiece that's Umineko. A very long letter expressing how much I love this and how much it affected my life. It's a love letter for Ryukishu, who put so much effort and love into his story, and my way to write him back with just as much love. And it's also a love letter for you, my dear Umineko fandom. The Umineko fandom has been my home for over a decade by now, and it's a place that makes me feel belong, loved, and a place to share my love for this. I met some incredible people, and I cannot see my life without Umineko or the people I met thanks to. Let's see, anime as well, I liked it a lot, but wouldn't be until somewhat recently until I went down the rabbit hole personally. Yeah, I got you. I'm glad that people are still discovering Umineko today and still deciding to kind of take that plunge, because it's no small endeavor reading Umineko. It's the longest visual novel I've ever read. It's the longest visual novel many people will ever read, unless you count something like, I don't even know. There's probably some longer ones out there, like maybe if you read all of Love back to back. But the impact that Umineko has on people is always just so exciting to see. Everyone takes something different from the story. While I wasn't really a fanfiction writer in the past, I've been role-playing Umineko in many different places for many years, and it helped me meet a lot of great people as well. I had the exact same story. I did a lot of role-playing for a very long time in various fandoms. Not in Umineko, but other fandoms. And only recently have I gotten into writing what you would call fanfiction. So some people might think that like fanfiction is an early-in-your-life thing, but it can be a late-in-your-life thing too. I'm proof of that. When Virgilius popped up, I decided to ironically make him my favorite, and ended up inserting him into one of my Umineko roleplays. Developing some original stuff for him was probably the first thing that made it get out of control. I also created some mini idea and mystery for that roleplay. After I shared it in my WTC server, to my surprise, people didn't think it was cringy, they actually thought it was pretty cool. Things led to another, and people encouraged me to actually write a big, serious forgery. That was when my journey had begun. The first part of this project was encouraged by a person named James, who offered to make an actual VN version of it. They were in charge of creating the visual novel version of it for a long time, but eventually we decided to part ways, and I continued the project by myself. I'm very thankful to them, and this project could never have existed without them, so even if it didn't end in the best way possible, I'm grateful and happy to have met them. You do hear a lot of such stories in the visual novel community. It's a very difficult task making a visual novel by oneself, and yet sometimes people have to get really hands-on and sort of almost take total control to really bring a thing to completion, because working with teams is it's got its advantages, but it's also just so difficult. There's differences in creative vision, there's differences, probably most importantly, in people's individual lives. For instance, you might start working on something and then suddenly the next day your life takes a complete change. You might end up working a new job or something of that nature, and when that happens, the team might just sort of fall apart. I don't know if that's what happened here, but it happens to a lot of such projects. It makes things tough. I think the most important part for me while making the visual novel version was the music. While writing and drawing are my hobbies, music is something I practiced in a professional way for many years. Oh wow, so I wonder if let's see. I wonder if that is saying that Umineta actually made some of the original music for this. That would be pretty impressive. I didn't catch that in the credits, but that's pretty cool. So, now that I finally had the chance to use a medium such as visual novel, the background music was the strongest weapon I had for it. I wanted to keep the same feeling the original novel had by using the older tracks, but at the same time I wanted to give it some fresh feeling. That's why I went through the extra albums of the composers and simply added new tracks from the same original composers of Umineko. Oh, okay, so rather than creating the music, they actually took music used by the original composers and introduced them into this context. I see. I was thinking about it recently, when it comes to actually like making music, not related to this visual novel, but just in general. It's something I've thought a little bit about for my own visual novel. And to me, people who make music are like magicians. It's like so far outside of my own field or my own scope that I can't even comprehend it. It's like it's just summoned from the ether. Some people do music making streams, and they're interesting to watch. It's just something that I'd like to get into someday, but who knows if it'll ever happen. Choosing the tracks for the scenes was definitely a really fun part for me. However, I did want to put at least one track of mine here, like another piece of my soul. That's why the track here, in the background, is my composition. I see. If you can't hear it, it's kind of a nice whistly thing. Some suggested me to write the theme for Vigilius myself, but I decided to let M. Zaki do the work for me. What, you don't like M. Zaki? Another person I owe my life to is my friend, Goni. When I was writing, she was the person whom I sent all my drafts and ideas, and every time I needed someone to consult with, she was there to help me decide what to do. She was a crucial person in my creative process, and she was the main person who actively kept fueling my motivation to write. You know, this makes me think I really need to add a spot in my credits for my for my proofreader as well. Because that's that proofreading, that kind of like input is pretty important and deserves to be credited. Sometimes it's enough to have one person who really makes it feel like it was worth writing something, and Goni was that person for me. Even when things got tough for me, and she was still supportive and encouraging the whole time, I can't put in words how thankful I am. You were with me the entire process of this forgery from start to end. It couldn't have happened without you. I also had incredible creators and people to help me. The first one is Archie, who was in charge of helping me create and edit many of the special sprites done for this forgery. He's extremely talented and has a very special knowledge about Ryukishi's art style and sprite edit, and his edits and pieces of advice improve the quality of the assets a lot. As he requested, there's an Une sprite in the background as I'm talking about. This project kept growing even more, and ended up getting an opening video. At first, my dear talented friend CS Sketch gave it a try, and after having some technical problems with it, my other talented friend Niato took this project upon her, and created the magnificent opening video for this forgery, which made this feel even more like a real chapter by Ryukishi. Thank you so much, Niato. I still can't stop watching the opening. I can't put in words how much I feel like it improved the quality and feeling of this forgery. You know, that's true. When I first pulled up this visual novel, one of the great eye catches that it has is on the opening page, on that itch.io page, you can click to watch the YouTube video and think to yourself, man, this looks just like one of the Umineko openings. I think that really draws attention to it very well. You might have figured out from this postscript, this one isn't edited, unlike the rest of the forgery, but English is not my first language, and I'm bound to make embarrassing mistakes. That's where my incredible editors and beta readers came in. The first person who became my beta reader was Arch. She had the patience to go line by line, find mistakes, missing dots or typos, and put her entire heart and soul into it just to help me. She's also an incredible writer herself, and writes a lot of fanfics for Umineko. Her writing style is beautiful, and if you want some more Umineko content now that Purgatory is over, you should totally read her fanfics. I do kind of want some more. Maybe I'll look into that. The second beta reader and editor is Nick. They joined in a bit later, and despite the fact I was already very close to the end, and was already pushing to release, they decided they're going to edit my script and help me rephrase things to make them sound better, at least as much as they could with the limited time they had. They also draw beautiful art and write as well. Please check them out. I couldn't have done it without you two. You're incredible, and I love you so much. Then I have my close friend Dor. He's the one who sat with me over the mystery and helped me construct it and create something that would keep the rules of the game board and still be entertaining enough to explore through writing, with relevance to the things I wanted to touch and explore through my forgery. You already know I love you. You have no choice. I also owe a lot for my friends Ophir and Halo, who took a big pride in my Virgilia's brain rot and fueled me far enough to decide and dedicate a whole forgery just for his existence. Oh, Ophir is also my roleplay partner, and probably the main reason I ended up so emotionally attached to Virgilius. So technically, it's all her fault. I love you. The first idea of the forgery was to make something out of the scraps Ryukishi gave us about land. I even considered calling this forgery Land at first, but I realized it will bind me too much to the things we already knew, so I decided to give it a unique name and make it something of my own. While I took some of the concepts from what we know about land, I also took the freedom to do what I want. There were a lot of subjects that I felt that weren't explored enough in Umineko, so I used this forgery to explore them a bit further. But really now, if I'll start analyzing my own forgery here, it would get embarrassing, don't you think? I left the solution more or less open, at least for the time being. I want people to enjoy theorizing and discussing it. Sooner or later, I will release my layout and plan files, especially to show people my process of writing, and especially if my forgery will inspire people to give it a try themselves. So please, if you ever plan on writing a forgery and need someone to consult with, don't be afraid to come to me and ask for an advice or help. I'll be more than happy to help. I don't need to think about making an Umineko visual novel right now. I'm making a Danganronpa visual novel. I can't do both. Somewhere out there, alternate universe AIM is planning his own Umineko visual novel now. Last, I will be super happy to hear your reactions to the forgery, or even your solutions. You can find me on my Twitter at Uminete, or just use the tag #Umineko Purgatory, which I will check, but I also have Discord and even Curious Cat, in case you want to send your opinion anonymously. By all means, please let me know what you think. It would mean the world for me. For now, I will probably take a break from writing, although I already have an idea for a joint forgery with a friend, but she didn't hear it from me. Who knows? Maybe one day I will make that Virgilius dating sim you all want, or the secret Virgin Batto sex scene DLC. Until then, we'll meet again when the seagulls cry. With love, Luminate 2021. Boy. That was quite something. It really, actually, I'm glad I thought to go into the extras and read that, because it turned out to be a sort of a touching but also just sort of revelatory piece of information about the whole visual novel. Let's see. I feel like there's one other thing I wanted to check, which is I never actually looked at the the death list. There's probably a little bit of description there, so why don't we check that out real quick before we do a little bit of post-mortem ourselves, and then we'll cut it off with a fairly short stream. Let's see. That. Oh no, the Renpy error screen. I'm way too familiar with this by now. What a thing to end on. Let's see. Okay, I think what we're going to have to do is... Let me quickly put my display box down. Give me 1 second. And then I'm going to quit out and reload it, and we will simply look at it in context. I don't think we'll be able to check the Lambda Delta character description, but I think we can check all the others. Give me 1 moment. Okay. Here we go. We're going to load a previous save, and I will simply check the character list there. Alright. Let's see if there's anything else special to read. Toya Hachijo, a man that lost the memories of his past in a car accident and was born anew. He was saved by Hachijo Ikuko and now lives with her, sharing both her lifestyle and interest in mystery novels. In his attempt to seek the truth of Rokonjima, he became a popular author, publishing various forgeries under different names and identities. He was once Ushirimiya Battler, one of the sole survivors of Rokonjima. Hey Kay, good to see you. Yeah, we have just finished up Purgatory of the Golden Witch. We're going to go through some of the character stuff real quick. And then we're going to do a little post-mortem on what we thought about the visual novel, what we think about the mystery, and maybe any theories we have. Just sort of an open discussion. Or at least a chance for me to give all my thoughts. Most of these descriptions are pretty straight up from the visual novel, so I won't go on and on about this. Let's see. But I am interested in reading the death descriptions if they have them. Yes, they do. They even have these cool death pictures where we see like how the person died. This seems to imply that Kenzo was shot in the head, although that was actually a stake that we found piercing his forehead, and it also shows that he was burned. His corpse was found burned in the boiler room. His limbs were cut off, and his head was halfway cut off. A stake was piercing his forehead. You lost your gamble. Krause's corpse was found in his own study. The direct cause of death is unknown, but it seems his body was cut all over and his blood spilled out. Welcome to the tragedy of Rokonjima. Shirimiya Jessica. Her corpse was found in Krause's study. The direct cause of death is unknown, but again, it seems her body was cut all over and her blood spilled out. She was protected by her father to the very end. Hideyoshi, once again, cut all over, blood spilled out. You were chosen, and so you were killed. Ushirimiya George. Like father, like son. Kihihihi. Ushirimiya Rudolph. His face was peaceful, despite being soaked in blood. Ushirimiya Kirie. Being chosen as a sacrifice was a true chain of misfortune. It's funny, it has Rosa and Maria dead. This actually came up during the story, but the magical way that this was presented was that Beatrice actually took the gun recoiled the gun and shot them with the bullets. And so we found many shots peppering them, and the great mystery created by this was, so we have a red truth that one person killed all of them, but then they have more bullet holes in them than there were bullets for the gun. How is that possible? We had the theory proposed that it was even possible they were skewered by the Finns, but Berncastle pointed out herself that was a very weak argument from the detective side, so it really is a mystery worth thinking about. I'll definitely be thinking about it a bit myself and trying to come up with any theories, because even knowing the kind of truth behind the whole thing, behind the mysteries of Rokkenjima, I can't quite say how that works out. It's a little hard to come up with. Let's think about it real quick, actually. So we know that Natsuhi had one gun, Ava had one gun, and Rosa had one gun. We know that Battler went out to meet Maria and Rosa in the garden and then left. We were teased with the idea then so Battler killed them. But if we don't accept that theory, then how else did the culprit shoot them? It would have had to be either Natsuhi or Rosa. Unless there was some way... That's not really true, because it is entirely possible that someone got the gun from Rosa and shot them. The question is, did they have spare bullets to load into it? I don't know. I've got to keep digesting this, but if anyone has any theories, feel free to share them. Because I'm going to be thinking about it. We have Shannon. Her heart was pierced by one of the stakes. Her greed for humanity brought her demise. And finally, we have Cannon. His corpse was found in Jessica's room. He was covered in wounds, and a stake was piercing his heart. He slacked off with his choices, so it was made for him. Amazingly, Goda did not die. Actually, the servants were pretty lucky overall, except for Shannon and Cannon. Alright, well, I think we're pretty much done with everything we have within the visual novel to look at, so I'll just give a few final thoughts. I think that the best thing that this visual novel did for me was definitely taking the sort of a hole that was there as far as Toya's life before we meet, before Angie meets him, before everything happens near the end of the novel. It kind of gave us a way to characterize him, but also it created a very real sense of stakes that didn't exist anywhere inside the original. I mean, it kind of did. It was just sort of hinted at, but it's not really explored too much during the original novel. We sort of see Toya show up, and when he does, he's not really the main character. It's more like he's... At that point, we're seeing it from the other viewpoint. We're seeing Angie as the main character at that point, since she is meeting him. So this is a good way to sort of see all of his struggles and really feel terrified for him, because we can all kind of understand that fear he was going through, that idea that if he became himself from being an amnesiac, what happens if he recovers his memories? Does it ride over the personality that he was? And it's a plot that sort of ties back into all the themes of Umineko too. So it's not just a problem we see on him, but the idea of the multiple personalities is very present throughout all of Umineko. And the sort of idea of like, if you've got all these people, if you are all these people, then who deserves to win? Who deserves to be you? It actually, I was recently reading on the topic of schizophrenia, and it's not something that I'm like qualified to talk about, but it's just like it is one of those things where they say there's no cure for it. It's just something that you can reduce the symptoms of, but you can't like get rid of it. It's something that people actually live with. So you can kind of imagine that a lot of people who come into not only this story but just Umineko in general, that's definitely an interesting spectrum to view it all from. But beyond that, it was nice to see all the murders play out in a new way. It was nice to see the fact that there's an original mystery there. Even that whole thing with the 8 gunshots just now was an entirely unique puzzle to be solved. And so we did try to solve it, but I'm not sure I ever came up with an answer. That's kind of my usual experience with Umineko, unfortunately, is as much as I appreciate it, as much as I respect it, and as much as I do think about it, I'm very bad at solving the mysteries. I do try. But I won't understand it until someone lays it out for me, unfortunately. Which is something that, Ryukishio 7 warned against. Was relying too much on that sort of thing. So I'll think about it, and maybe the answers will come to me. Who knows? Alright, well, we're nearly at 2 hours now. I know it's one of my shorter streams, but I think we will take a rest there. It's I don't really have enough time left tonight to start a new visual novel, and it just feels weird to go into a game after finishing this grand climax. So we'll stop it for now, and we'll go raid somebody instead. If you're interested in what I have planned for streaming for the rest of the week, Thursday I will be with Cici Hime for her birthday party. I hope you'll come as well and say hi, say happy birthday. At around 9 o'clock Eastern, I will show up to that, but there'll be lots and lots of events and a subathon and stuff before that point, so if you want to come before I'm there, all the better. Then Saturday, I'm in a You Laugh, You Lose challenge, and I have a feeling that I will be a low performer because my sort of like knee-jerk reaction is to laugh at everything anybody presents me. So don't expect your boy to do particularly well. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, Lampshade. I'm glad you got to see the whole story. It was quite a read. One problem with the Danganronpa fan visual novels that I've read so much of is very, very few of them have gotten to an end. In fact, I don't think any of them that I've read so far have gotten to an end. There are only a few Danganronpas out there that are complete. So to read a complete work, I think, was a pretty nice change of pace. But that said, next week we are going back to Danganronpa with some new Fanganronpas I've been meaning to read. I haven't decided which one yet, but we'll learn together. Okay, now who am I going to raid? Hold on one moment. Give me just a little bit. I think I see a good answer. Okay, so I've never raided Eggy before. I've kind of been wanting to, and it looks like right now they're playing Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, which is a fantastic game. It's not a visual novel, but there's a lot of interesting stuff all the same. It's one of those games where if you haven't experienced it before, you just got to at some point. It's unlike anything else. It's like if walking simulators are a genre, then Stanley Parable is my very favorite of the walking simulators. Definitely something to check out and sort of soak in. So let's raid Eggy. Let's see. There we go. Alright, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I will see you either Thursday, or if you're only interested in visual novels, I'll see you Monday. We probably won't do anything else on this channel this week unless I decide to do another Rogue Legacy 2 Guerrilla stream, which is a very real possibility. Take care, everybody, and I will see you next time.